Tuesday, the 4th of June 2024. It's Lesson Good evening and welcome to Freedom TV News Basket, a 45-minute news presentation to bring you stories from Liberia and elsewhere. Thomas Wella presenting this Tuesday's presentations of the news program. Top stories to following this evening, President Joseph Waka called for concerted action to address what he termed as sustainability and solidarity in issued a arrest warrant for value custodians at the GT Bank Liberia, where alleged stealing over $78,000 United States dollars from the bank. Former County Senator Edwin Snow blames the government of Liberia for what he termed as the failure to tell the citizens the truth on the recent rights practices in the country. In the way of Liberia, Nigeria Trade Union has suspended the general strike on workers that has brought economic activity to a halt this week. The details of these, including the bulletin of news, the actual work, are all coming up after Sharma secretary to the bulletin of news. The president put it into details.
Good evening, Liberia. Birmingham County Senator Edwin Snow has blamed the government of Liberia for what he termed as their failure to tell the citizens the truth on the recent rice crisis in the country. Recently, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, announced an increase in the price of 50 kg bag of rice due to surcharges of 20% by the Indians government. Day after the pronouncement, President Bouaka has held an emergency meeting with Rice Importers Association and also announced that there will be no increment in the 50 kg bag of rice, something which sparked debate among citizens across the country. But appearing on a local radio in Monrovia, Birmingham County Senator Edwin Snow described the pronouncement by Minister Ami Modad and President Bouaka as lack of truth telling. According to Senator Snow, the action by the government on the issue of rice shows a lack of coordination and national issue on the part of the government. Responding to the recent incident at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Senator Snow called on President Boakai to intervene in the situation. Senator Snow added that the situation at the LDEA has the propensity to undermine the fight against substance abuse and drugs abuse in the country. President Joseph Boakai has called for concerted and deliberate actions to address what he termed as sustainability and solidarity in Africa's development. Addressing the 2024 Korean African Summit, the Liberian leader noted that resources are not infinite. Therefore, the careful use of exploration of Africa's collective natural wealth must always be considered in maintaining a sustainable Earth for future generations. According to him, Korea has been a true friend and partner that Africa can learn from and has so much to offer Africa in the continent's quest for a transformative future. The Liberian leader added that as leaders of Africa, their aim is to set an outcome of the summit that allows the application of what he termed as collectively being endured with increase in prosperity and improve the livelihoods of Africans. President Bouaka further maintained that the 2024 Korea Africa Summit theme must remind everyone that the future needed for the people and the world cannot just be hoped, dreamed, but can be achieved through concerted and deliberate actions. He further noted that the twin processes of globalization and technological advancement have spurred growth and economic development globally, while Africa has been unequal in the sharing the 21st century with remarkable feats of human development. Meanwhile, President Bouakat noted that shared growth and shared future must also be pursued in tandem with Agenda 2063. the Pan African effort to promote collective prosperity, and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the World Sustainable Development Goals. The grounds of the Capitol building was on Tuesday the scene of tension when District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba was initially barred from entering the House chamber by the Sergeant at Arms. Following the situation, the District 10 lawmaker later engaged in a heated exchange with legislative reporters, shedding light on the inner workings and tension within Liberia's political landscape. The altercation turned from Koluba's allegations against fellow Representative Thomas Fala, whom he accused of engaging in corrupt practices. Koluba's frustration was palpable as he expressed his dismay over what he perceived as underhandling dealings within the legislature. Contrary to Koluba's impression, remarks was his assertion that lawmakers should prioritize the interest of the people above all else. He opposed any notion of aligning with figures such as Amin Mudad and President Joseph Boakai, whom he believed do not have the nation's best interests at heart. The House of Representatives has mandated its Joint Committee on Information, Broadcasting, Culture and Tourism and Judiciary to review a bill seeking the enactment for the ownership, management, licensing, and operation of community radio stations in Liberia. Plenary's decision followed a communication from Nima County District Number 2 Representative Yan Flomo. Representative Flomo said, proud to the Liberian Civil War, the Liberian government and partners made efforts to decentralize public broadcasting, thus culminating into establishment of the Liberia Rural Communications Network project with funding from USAID. According to him, it witnessed the establishment of 3 regional radio stations across the country. He said, unfortunately, those facilities, including the model radio station of ELBC, were vandalized, looted, or damaged during the course of the war, creating a public information broadcast void. Meanwhile, the Joint Legislative Committee is expected to report within a period of 2 weeks. Montserrado County Senator Darius DeLon has described as embarrassing Tuesday fist fight between the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency Director Abraham Kuman and his deputy Hassan Fadigai. Since their appointment, the pair has been on a cat and rat race. The most recent was a reported disarmament order from Director Kuman to his bodyguard to disarm his deputy Hassan Fadigar before entering his office. Addressing a press conference Monday, Kuman admitted to the unhealthy relationship with his deputies and called for a meeting with the president to find a solution. In response to the reported fist fight between President Boakai's 2 officials, Senator DeLon posted on his Facebook page calling on the pair to change or the appointment authority should change them. He said the ongoing LDA situation is embarrassing and it is time for action. The plenary of the House of Representatives has directed Police Inspector General Colonel Gregory Coleman to collaborate closely with the House Committee on National Security to address the escalating concerns regarding traffic and public safety. Colonel Coleman, appearing before the plenary of the House of Representatives, reiterated the commitment of the LMP to implement measures aimed at safeguarding public safety. He underscored the importance of collaborative efforts between the police force and members of the legislature in tackling the challenges faced in ensuring law and order. In response to inquiries from members of the House of Representatives, Colonel Coleman emphasized the need for adequate resources to effectively carry out the mandate of the LMP. He appealed for support from the legislature, particularly in the upcoming fiscal year budget, to allocate funds for the maintenance of police vehicles, a crucial aspect in enhancing operational efficiency. The call for RG Comon's appearance before the House plenaries stemmed from a communication submitted by Representative Alexander Paul of Bewaji County District 1. Representative Paul, in his communication, raised concerns about the growing number of traffic violations and safety lapses across the nation, prompting the House to seek clarifications from the LMP leadership. Commerce Minister Amin Modad has informed the plenary of the House of Representatives that the price of a 25 kg bag of rice has not been increased and remains at US 16.75 cents. According to the Commerce Minister, anyone found increasing the price of the commodity will be dealt with in accordance with law, and highlighted the intervention of President Joseph Boakai in maintaining the price of rice on the Liberian market. Minister Modad was summoned to appear before the House's plenary on Tuesday, accompanied by his legal counsel, to address concerns regarding potential contempt charges stemming from perceived inconsistencies in his communication. Meanwhile, the plenary of the House of Representatives has unanimously decided to pardon Commerce Minister Amin Modad of contempt charges following his expression of regret for the inconsistencies in his communication to that August body. The House of Representatives acknowledged Minister Modad's apology and his assurance of cooperation moving forward. This resolution underscores the importance of accountability and transparency in governance, as well as the willingness of all parties to work collaboratively towards the common good of the country. Additionally, the minister was requested to provide documentation validating his cancellation of his travels, which prevented his attendance at the previous session that led to accusations of obstructing the House's proceedings. And the We Are Intellectual Movement, a pro-We Are advocacy group which is aligned with the Coalition of Democratic Change, has selected former Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Asik Do as its acting chairman. The group, which was founded during the 2023 general and presidential elections in a bid to highlight developments of the Weah-led administration, intends to hold the Brakat administration to account while providing alternative policy prescription. Do was the group's vice chair for operation before succeeding WIM's former chairman Bwaka Fufanan. In a brief remarks to members of the body, Asedo thanked the former chairman for leading the group through a period he termed as a campaign for a soul of the nation. He stated that although the election's results did not go as anticipated, he was proud that the movement played a major role in presenting to the Liberian people pro-government arguments, for which more than 49% of the electorate voted for the former president. Well, Kojo, that's the news bulletin.
Many thanks to Charles Morris for reading us. The Bulletin of News is a regular feature here on Freedom TV News Basket. If you just join us, you are listening to the Tuesday, June 4, 2024 presentations of the program Freedom TV News Basket. And these are top stories we carry this evening. President Joseph Boakai calls for concerted actions to address what he termed as sustainability and solidarity in Africa's development. Monrovia City could issue arrest warrant for value custodians at GT Bank Liberia for allegedly stealing over 78,000 United States dollars from the bank. Roman County Senator Edwin Snow blames the government of Liberia for what he termed as their failure to tell the citizens the truth on the recent rice crisis within the country. And away from Liberia, Nigeria trade workers have suspended a general strike that was brought in by shortage on the Nigerian market. We're taking a break to be back. Many thanks for rejoining us on the program Freedom TV News Basket, and I bring you the voices of those behind the news. Birmingham County Senator Edwin Snow has blamed the government of Liberia for what he termed as the failure to tell the citizens the truth on the recent rice crisis within the country. Recently, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, announced an increment in the price of 25 kg bags of rice due to the surcharges of 20% by the Indian government. But appearing on a local radio station in Monrovia, the Birmingham County Senator described the pronouncement by Minister Ami Modai and President Joseph Boakai as lack of truth-telling to the Liberian people.
We follow the Senate conversations among senators, national conversation. We follow you. We follow the press conference of the Ministry of Commerce. Then, of course, the outcome of the meeting with the president. And, in government, truth-telling is very important. Truth-telling is very important. When you inform the citizens and prepare their mind for things, look, we don't grow rice here. We don't produce rice here. So where the rice coming from, there's problem there. Inform the citizens, tell the people, and prepare their minds. If it means we have to have a cushion or fund, some kind of stabilization fund that we did before, let's do it. Let it become a national conversation. But when we try to make things to appear that this time around is going to be better than it has ever been before, and it's going to be faultless, and nothing bad will happen. And then there should be a synergy between the state actors. When you have the Minister of Commerce having one meeting and making a pronouncement, then the next day there's a formal meeting with the president, then a second pronouncement comes. It creates confusion in the minds of the investors or the business community. We must coordinate our activities, and we must tell the people the truth. Truth-telling, people in governance is very important. Pretense don't help. If we go to government and act like, oh look, the other government did it this way, so we can't be seen as doing it this way. Like the issue with you debate now with private jet. I tell people, let me just take you back a little bit. For example, look, no president will succeed in working in this region with all using private jet. It's not possible. If you want to go to Sierra Leone today, from Monrovia this morning, you want to go to Sierra Leone, it takes you 12 hours. So if a president is going to Freetown, for example, for a visit, and you have to take Oscar because you say, oh, John, we have a flying private jet. And we can be against it, so we won't fly private jet too. So we fly Oscar. It's one whole presidential working day you've taken already, just about all the inconvenience and everything. So you have to now come out and say, look, these are manifest necessity. These are things we cannot foresee. But when President Weah did it, it was like taboo. Everybody, the president flying private.
Meanwhile, responding to recent incident at the Liberia Jaws Enforcement Agency, the Birmingham County Senator called on President Boakai to intervene into the situation before it go out of hand. Senator Snow added that the situation at the LDA has the propensity to undermine the fight against Jaws abuse within the country.
And we're very keen interest we follow the Senate conversations among senators, national conversation. We follow you. We follow the press conference with the Ministry of Commerce. Then, of course, the outcome of the meeting with the president. And, in government, truth-telling, I follow it. And we're very keen interest we follow the Senate conversations among senators, national conversation. We follow you. We follow the press conference with the Ministry of Commerce. Then, of course, the outcome of the meeting with the president. And, in government, truth-telling is very important. Truth-telling is very important. When you inform the citizens and prepare their mind for things, look, we don't grow rice here. We don't produce rice here. So where the rice coming from, there's problem there. Inform the citizens, tell the people, and prepare their minds. If it means we have to have a cushion or fund, some kind of way, very keen interest we follow the Senate conversation.
He is Birmingham County Senator Edwin Snow there responding to the recent situation that took place between the two bosses of the Liberia Jaws Enforcement Agency. Earlier on, Senator Snow blamed the government of Liberia for what he termed as failure to inform the citizens about the recent riot crisis taking place within the country. Still more development coming from Bombing. Bombing County Superintendent Miata Dolet is calling on the Western Cluster Limited to halt its mining operation in the county, aided by President Joseph Boakai's recent mandate. Recently, President Boakai placed moratorium on the company for its failure to meet up with the agreement signed by the government. Superintendent Miata Dolet noted that what Western Cluster Limited is carrying out serious mining activities within the county since the president made the pronouncement.
Yeah, I spoke to Western Cluster. I had a meeting with them briefly, and I'm meeting with them again tomorrow because we cannot override what the president has placed on them. So we have to support what the president says and what the president wants. And we just follow that. We look up to the president because we know that he knows what is best for Liberia and what is best for Burma and the citizens. And the president is doing his best for Burma and citizens to figure our interests, our well-being. So they have some environmental day, planting trees, and they invite us, invite our office. So we will be there. Anything that has to do with Burma, we have to be there. So we'll be there. My direct message would be have to listen to what our president says and comply with what he wants, and also whatever they came out with that they are supposed to give to Bobby County, they're supposed to give it to Bobby County. And we look forward to working with them. Right now, we are trying to adjust ourselves and straighten things because there was nothing was functioning yet. So right now, we're just trying to get settled in, get the office running. Nothing was in the office. No initiatives to work with. The office, air conditions and other stuff was we vandalized the office, took these things out, took out some of the equipment to work with, nothing to work with, no tools to work with. So we just starting all over, trying to do the office all over, we did some renovation, nothing. I did not even meet my predecessor. He died before I took over a day before. And after that, we have not had anyone to turn anything over to us. Now, first priority to make sure that we leave the citizens of Burma are united. Everyone that lives within Burma County, that we be united, we be on one accord, and we move forward.
Miata Dolet is the superintendent of Bombing County. They're calling on Western Clusters Limited to halt its mining operations within the county to aid President Joseph Boakai's mandate. The plenary of the House of Representatives has directed Police Inspector General Colonel Gregory Coleman to collaborate closely with the House Committee on National Security to address the escalating concern regarding public safety. Colonel Coleman, appearing before the plenary of the House of Representatives, reiterated the commitment of the LNP to implement measures aimed at safeguarding the public safety within Liberia.
What mechanism will be so as to assure them that these people have met the standards before our next round of registration. When it comes to the issue of traffic lights, I would advise this other party that we look at public work to join the conversation. We can advise on areas where the lights are needed, but it is their responsibility to put the lights there and also to program the lights as per the traffic rule. And this time around, we will even advance the conversation further that we have access to the flow and the change of the lights so as to determine the flow during rush and peak hours, as to which way goes faster, which way goes slower, and to also see if we get upgraded for access to the emergency vehicles as well. The lack of highway patrol is just the lack of the same logistical concerns that we're talking about. Thanks to this body, we've just been informed that there's been an allotment in the budget to procure some vehicles. As soon as we are able to complete the process, the procurement process, and we acquire those vehicles, the highway patrol will be retrained. Vetting is ongoing for highway patrol class and also for a new traffic class to change some of the faces and bring in some new officers with fresh ideas and enforcement authority to be able to beef up our enforcement on the roads. So hopefully within the next few months, when the highway patrol vehicles that are available. You don't see them there. The issue of overloading, is a serious concern to us. And I'll be honest with you. Over the years, there's been lack of in-service training. Some of the officers have just chosen not to do what they were trained to do. Maybe they forgot that. But in the normal order of things, these people are to be occasionally refreshed. And it's been a very long time since most of them have had an opportunity to have these courses. So they basically forgotten some of the things that they should know in the road. Because in my mind, and I personally say it to my team whenever we meet, it has to be said that a vehicle will pass overloaded by 5 police checkpoints and get to town.
He is the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, Colonel Greco Coleman, there, showing the public and members of the Liberian legislature of keeping public safety. Bringing us to half hour past the mark in the news. Just Donald, you are listening to the Tuesday, the June 4, 2024 presentations of the program Freedom Even News Basket, a 1-hour news magazine program that brings you stories from Liberia and elsewhere. And these are top stories we're carrying this evening. President Joseph Boakai calls for concerted action to address what he termed as sustainability and solidarity in Africa's development. Monrovia City Court issued arrest warrants for value custodian as GT Bank Liberia for allegedly stealing over 78,000 United States dollars from the bank. Bombing County Senator Edwin Snow blamed the government of Liberia for how it termed as failure to tell the citizens the truth about recent race crisis. And away from Liberia, Nigeria Trade Union have suspended normal activities for workers due to the economic constraint they are currently faced with. We're taking a break. We'll come back. We'll continue the news program.
It's about music. There are crimes in many places. In every community, you can see. So if you see crime, you report it. Don't take law in your hand for the right authority. They can't take care of it. Crime Stopper here for us, bringing safety to your door. Whether you rich or you poor, if you see a you must take it. You cheche. Do it for your safety. If you see it, don't keep it. You must call to report it. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us safe, they're stopping crime for all of us. Crime Stopper, the people bring.
Many thanks for rejoining us on the program Freedom Even News Basket and the continual more development. Commerce Minister Amin Modar has informed the plenary of the House of Representatives that the price of 25 kg rice has not been increased and remain at US $16.75. According to the Commerce Minister, any one form increase in the price of the commodity will be dealt with in accordance with the law of Liberia.
Over-escalating costs due to the increased shipping by geopolitical tensions in Ukraine and the Middle East. They also highlighted several domestic issues contributing to their operational costs, including multiple fees from ABM Terminal, the National Port Authority, and myriad additional logistical and transportation costs and fees, alongside bureaucratic delays that exacerbated the financial burdens. We immediately sought to understand the policies and regulations that were in place governing rice importation and where needed developed or updated. We also sought to establish the stock of rice in country and verify that sufficient rice was being shipped to avoid shortage and scarcity. Our findings. Indeed, there were several factors influencing the increase in rice prices globally. There's several news articles and several reports from the various countries that are relevant to this that verify the increase in price from their side. So some of them include scarcity of supply, increasing global demand, and uncertain by the rice importers geopolitical conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. and restrictions imposed by the Indian government on non-basmati rice. In our case, the preferred IR64 Indian rice variety that we consume. In July 2023, India announced that it will restrict exports of non-basmati rice to address its own domestic rice prices that had risen by more than 30%. India further imposed a supplemental tariff of 20% on exports of non-basmati rice, posing risk for global prices and heightening food insecurity. Over the past 50 years, I must note that India became the world's largest rice exporter, accounting for 40% of global rice exports between 2022 and 2023. Thus, any move it makes has significant market reverberations. Liberia and Liberians must understand that with our heavy dependence on imported rice, global changes and crises, be it climate, financial, war, or political decisions, will continue to have great impact on our food security unless we develop our capacity to feed ourselves. Liberia, as a least developed country with years of governance issues and fiscal mismanagement, grapple with continuous challenges. While we have the endowment, including land, climate, water supply, to develop a vibrant agricultural sector and improve food security, internal volatilities such as funding and logistics continue to inhibit us. Domestic production is still insecure.
Modai's Commerce Minister there informing plenary of the House of Representatives that the price of 25 kg bag of rice has not increased. And he's taking us back to Gerald Morris for the foreign news.
Nigeria's trade unions have suspended a general strike by workers that has brought economic activity to a halt this week. The decision comes after the government promised to increase the national minimum wage to at least 60,000 naira a month. This falls below the 330 that unions have been demanding, but is double the current monthly wage. The strike began on Monday and led to the shutdown of the country's power grid, leaving millions without electricity. Government and union representatives say they will not meet every day for a week for further negotiations in the hopes of a permanent resolution. A civil servant in the northern city of Kano told the BBC he was disappointed by the office and wanted at least 100,000 naira a month. Even 100,000 naira won't be enough as prices in the market have gone up, but it will be better than we have now, said Shantu Lawal, who works in the information ministry in Kano. I spend 500 naira to get to work every day, which is not easy. We will return to work now and continue to push for more, he added. Early on Monday, the country was plugged into darkness shortly after 2 o'clock local time when union members prevented operations at the country's power control rooms from working and closed electricity substations. Many flights were also cancelled in the country's busiest airport in Lagos and in the capital Abuja, with passengers left stranded. Schools, offices, and hospitals across the country have also been closed. This strike is in further that is the fourth since President Bola Tinubu came to power a year ago. His government has removed a subsidy that kept the price of fuel low, has ended the policy of pegging the value of the naira to the US dollars. The removal of the fuel subsidies and collapse in the value of naira has led to the worst economic crisis in a generation. Unions have warned they will not hesitate to strike again in 7 days if the negotiation prove fruitless. Well, Kojo, That's the foreign.
The foreign news with Gerald Murray is taking us home on this Tuesday presentations of the program Freedom Even News Basket, where we cover top stories to be following. President Joseph Boakai calls for concerted action to address what he termed as sustainability and solidarity in Africa's development. Monrovia City Court issued a arrest warrant for value GT Bank Liberia for allegedly stealing over $78,000 United States dollars from the bank. Wyoming County Senator Edwin Snow blames the government of Liberia for what he termed as the failure to tell the Liberian people the truth about the recent rights crisis within the country. And away from Liberia, Nigeria trade union have suspended the general strike by workers that has brought economic activities to a halt this week in the country. I'd love to say many thanks to all of our writers, correspondents, and editors who have been making today's presentations of the program a success. Gerald Morris were here with the Bulletin of News and the Foreign News. Stanley Nangwe, Sarah Control, and coordinated the sound system, and Thomas Willard, our presenter, have yourself a very pleasant Tuesday evening from the nation's capital, Monrovia.